3 months had passed since the alien invasion began. Earth looked very different now. The blue planet was covered with dark smoke from burning cities. The moon had become an alien fortress. Mars colonies sent desperate messages asking for help that never came. But in the asteroid belt, something unexpected was happening. Commander Brad Johnson floated in the zero gravity of his hidden command center. Around him, dozens of screens showed secret bases scattered throughout the outer solar system. Each base was full of humans who refused to give up. "Carol, show me the latest reports," Brad said to Dr. Carol White, who was working at a computer terminal nearby. Carol pulled up a holographic display that filled the room with tiny lights. Each light represented a human resistance cell. There were hundreds of them, hidden in asteroids, abandoned space stations, and deep underground on various planets. "The aliens control most of the inner system," Carol said, "but they can't find all of us. We've been hitting their supply convoys and communication relays. Small attacks, but they're adding up." On the other side of the asteroid, engineer Steve Parker was working on something that could change everything. He had been studying the captured alien technology for months. The breakthrough had come when he realized that human brains worked differently than alien brains. "Brad, you need to see this," Steve called out. Brad pushed off from a wall and floated over to Steve's workshop. On the workbench was a piece of alien equipment connected to human computers. Strange lights were flashing back and forth between the two systems. "What am I looking at?" Brad asked. "Remember how Dr. Price discovered that the aliens are all connected to their ships? Well, I found out why humans can't be controlled the same way. Our brain patterns are completely different. When I try to connect human neural patterns to alien systems, something interesting happens." Steve activated the device. Immediately, the alien component began sparking and smoking. Warning lights flashed red as the alien technology crashed. "The human brain creates feedback loops in their network," Steve explained. "We don't just resist their control systems, we crash them." This discovery was exactly what the resistance needed. Within days, teams of human fighters were being trained to use modified alien equipment. The goal was not to control alien ships, but to destroy their network connections. Meanwhile, on Earth, things were getting worse. Major Kate Anderson crouched in the ruins of what used to be Chicago. Around her, a team of human soldiers prepared for another raid on the alien command center. "Remember, we get in fast, plant the virus, and get out," Kate whispered to her team. "Alex spent 2 months writing this program. Don't let his work go to waste." Alex Morgan had been a computer programmer before the war. Now he was humanity's secret weapon. He had created a computer virus using the feedback patterns that Steve Parker had discovered. The virus was designed to spread through the alien network and turn their own ships against each other. Kate's team moved through the destroyed city like ghosts. The aliens had built their command center on top of the ruins of the Willis Tower. Alien guards patrolled the area, but they were looking for large human forces, not small teams of infiltrators. Lieutenant Danny Cooper had volunteered for the mission even though he knew it was probably suicide. He carried the virus program in a small device hidden in his jacket. Getting close enough to the alien computers would be the hardest part. The team reached the base of the alien command center just as the sun was setting. The building was covered in the same dark metal as the alien ships. Strange symbols glowed. Along its walls, and alien technology hummed with electrical power. "Danny, you're up," Kate whispered. Danny crept toward a maintenance port he had identified earlier. The aliens had built their systems on top of human infrastructure, which meant there were ways to get inside that they didn't know about. Danny had been a maintenance worker before the war, so he knew every tunnel and service corridor in the city. It took him 20 minutes to reach the alien computer core. The room was filled with organic technology that pulsed like a living heart. Cables ran everywhere, carrying data between different parts of the alien network. Danny could feel the power flowing through the systems around him. He pulled out Alex's virus device and connected it to the main data trunk. The device immediately began uploading the virus into the alien network. Danny watched as progress bars slowly filled up on the device's small screen. 50%, 60%, 70%. Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the alien complex. They had detected the intrusion. Danny could hear alien soldiers running through the corridors, searching for him. 80%, 90%, the door to the computer room burst open and 3 alien soldiers rushed in. They were tall and thin, with gray skin and large black eyes. Cables ran from their heads to small devices on their belts. When they saw Danny, they raised their weapons. "Upload complete," the device announced just as the aliens fired. Danny smiled as the energy beams hit him. The virus was in their system, now. There was nothing they could do to stop it. In space, Admiral Kethavar was reviewing battle reports when his ship's computer systems began acting strangely. Warning messages appeared on screens throughout the command deck. His technical officers looked confused and worried. "Admiral, we're detecting anomalies in the fleet network," reported Commander Zethok. "Ships are reporting system malfunctions across multiple battle groups." At first, the problem seemed minor. A navigation error here, a communication glitch there. But then things began getting worse. Ships started firing on their own supply convoys. Navigation systems directed vessels into asteroid fields. Worst of all, some ships began targeting other alien vessels. The virus was spreading exactly as Alex had designed it. It used the aliens' own network against them, turning their greatest strength into their greatest weakness. Because all alien ships were connected, the virus could jump from one vessel to another instantly. On Earth, resistance fighters watched in amazement as alien ships in orbit began firing on each other. Captain Sam Turner, who had been hiding on a damaged space station, saw an entire alien squadron destroy itself in a matter of minutes. "This is Sam Turner to all resistance cells," he broadcast. "The virus is working. Alien fleet coordination is breaking down. This is our chance." Human fighters emerged from hiding places throughout the solar system. Ships that had been damaged and abandoned were quickly repaired. Weapons that had been hidden in asteroid caves were brought back online. For the first time in months, humans were ready to fight back. The aliens tried to shut down their network connections, but it was too late. The virus had already spread to thousands of ships. When they disconnected from the network, the ships became isolated and vulnerable to human attack. Dr. Carol White and engineer Steve Parker worked together to build more virus delivery systems. They knew that humans had to move fast before the aliens found a way to stop the computer infection. On Luna Base, Sergeant Bobby Clark led a team of human Marines in an assault on the alien fortress. The alien defenders were confused and disorganized because their command systems were failing. What should have been an impossible mission became a desperate fight that humans could actually win. Major Ashley Davis coordinated similar attacks. On Mars, the alien occupation forces found themselves cut off from their command ships and under attack from human colonists who had been hiding in underground tunnels for months. But the most important battle was happening in space. Captain Sam Turner had managed to gather 30 human ships that were still functional. They formed up into attack formations and began hunting alien vessels that had been disabled by the virus. The tables were turning. For 3 months, the aliens had been winning. Now their own technology was being used against them, and humans were fighting back with everything they had. Admiral Kethvar realized that his invasion was failing. The primitive humans had done something impossible. They had turned his own fleet against itself. Ships that had conquered dozens of star systems were now destroying each other. But the war was not over yet. Thousands of alien ships were still functional. The humans had won a battle, but the final outcome was still uncertain. In the depths of space, both sides prepared for the next phase of a conflict that would determine the fate of Earth and the galaxy itself. The virus had been spreading through the alien fleet for 2 weeks when Admiral Kethvar made a terrible discovery. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching his mighty armada destroy itself. Ships that had conquered star systems were now firing on their own allies. Navigation computers were sending vessels crashing into planets. Communication systems were broadcasting random noise instead of orders. "How many ships have we lost?" Admiral Kethvar asked his second-in-command. Commander Zethok looked at his reports with shaking hands. 7,400 ships are no longer responding to commands, Admiral. Many have been destroyed by friendly fire. Others are drifting helplessly in space. Admiral Kethvar felt something he had never experienced before: fear. His people had spent centuries building this fleet. Each ship represented the hopes of billions of Zephyrians who were dying from the cybernetic plague that was slowly killing their race. On Earth, Dr. Ellen Stone was studying captured alien prisoners when she made her own shocking discovery. She had been examining the cybernetic implants that all aliens wore. What she found explained everything about why the Zephyrians had invaded Earth so desperately. "Commander Griffin, you need to see this immediately," Ellen called to Roy Griffin, who was coordinating the human counterattack from the rebuilt New York Command Center. Roy walked over to Ellen's laboratory, where she had an alien prisoner lying on an examination table. The alien was unconscious, with dozens of cables and sensors attached to its gray skin. Medical displays showed the alien's vital signs, and none of them looked good. "Roy, these cybernetic implants aren't just connecting the aliens to their ships," Ellen explained. "They're killing them. The mechanical parts are slowly replacing their biological organs. This alien has maybe 6 months to live before the implants completely take over." Roy stared at the readings in disbelief. "You mean their entire species is dying?" "That's exactly what I mean. Every Zephyrian we've captured shows the same pattern. The cybernetic enhancements that make them so powerful are also destroying their bodies. They're not invading other worlds for conquest. They're looking for a cure." This news changed everything. The aliens weren't evil conquerors who enjoyed destroying other species. They were desperate refugees trying to save themselves from extinction. Roy immediately contacted all human resistance leaders with this information. Meanwhile, in space, Captain Sam Turner was leading the largest human fleet assembled since the invasion began. 60 ships had been repaired and crewed by volunteers from across the solar system. Their target was a group of alien vessels near Jupiter that were still functioning normally. "All ships, this is Captain Turner," Sam broadcast to his fleet. "Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for every species these aliens have enslaved across the galaxy." The battle near Jupiter was unlike anything humans had fought before. Instead of the desperate defensive actions of the early war, this was a coordinated assault by organized human forces. The aliens tried to respond, but their command structure was breaking down because of the virus. Captain Julie Young commanded the recaptured alien flagship that had been turned into a human vessel. The irony was not lost on anyone that humans were now using alien technology better than the aliens themselves. Julie's ship led the attack, its alien weapons cutting through enemy vessels that couldn't coordinate their defenses. But the most important action was happening on the surface of Mars. Major Ashley Davis had gathered every human colonist, miner, and engineer on the planet for a final assault on the alien occupation forces. The aliens had controlled Mars for months, but now their reinforcements from space were gone. "Today we take back our world," Ashley told her army of makeshift soldiers. "These aliens thought they could break us by taking our homes. They were wrong." The battle for Mars lasted 12 hours. Human fighters emerged from underground tunnels that had been dug during the long occupation. They used mining equipment as weapons and turned industrial robots into combat machines. The aliens fought hard, but without support from their fleet. They were slowly overwhelmed. Sergeant Bobby Clark led the assault on the main alien base in the Olympus Mons region. His team had spent weeks studying alien defensive patterns and had found weaknesses that could be exploited. When the attack began, Bobby's soldiers moved like ghosts through the alien fortifications. "Remember, aim for their implant connections," Bobby shouted to his troops. "Cut the cables and they lose their coordination." The tactic worked perfectly. Alien soldiers who lost their cybernetic connections became confused and disoriented. Without the constant data flow from their implants, they couldn't function as an organized unit. Back on Earth, similar battles were being fought in every major city. Captain Diane Foster coordinated urban warfare in the ruins of London, while Major Kate Anderson led resistance fighters in the underground tunnels of Chicago. Everywhere, humans were emerging from hiding places to reclaim their planet. But the biggest surprise came from an unexpected source. Deep space monitoring stations began picking up signals from other star systems. The messages were coming from species that had been conquered by the Zephyrians years ago. "Commander Griffin, you're going to want to hear this." "Communications," Officer Linda King said as she connected an incoming transmission. The voice that came through the speakers was clearly not human, but the universal translator made the words understandable. "This is General Thrak of the Centauri Defense Force. We have received your transmissions about the Zephyrian fleet malfunction. Our enslaved worlds are ready to rebel. Please advise on coordination." Roy Griffin stared at the communication board in amazement. "How many worlds are we talking about, King?" "Sir, we're receiving similar messages from 43 different star systems. The Zephyrian Empire is collapsing everywhere at once. The virus that Alex Morgan had created was doing more than just destroying the alien fleet near Earth. Because the Zephyrian Empire was connected by the same network technology, the infection had spread to every corner of their territory. Enslaved species across the galaxy were seeing their oppressors lose control and were rising up in rebellion. Admiral Kethvar received the reports from across his empire with growing horror. Rebellions were breaking out on dozens of worlds. Ship commanders were losing contact with their fleets. The cybernetic network that had been the foundation of Zephyrian power was destroying itself. "Admiral," Commander Zethok reported, "we're receiving surrender requests from 18 ship commanders. Their vessels are no longer combat capable, and their crews are requesting asylum." Admiral Kethvar looked out at what remained of his once mighty fleet. Where 9,900 ships had once filled space with their dark presence, only scattered groups of vessels remained functional. Most were damaged, all were isolated from the network, and many were already being hunted by human forces. Captain Sam Turner's fleet had grown to over 100 ships as more human vessels were repaired and brought online. They were systematically hunting down isolated alien ships and either destroying them or forcing them to surrender. "Sir," reported his tactical officer, "we have visual confirmation on the alien flagship. It's alone and appears to be sending distress signals." Sam looked at the massive ship on his display screen. Just months ago, vessels like this had seemed invincible. Now it sat helpless in space, its network connections severed and its escort ships destroyed or captured. "Open a communication channel," Sam ordered. The screen flickered and showed Admiral Kethvar standing on his bridge. The alien leader looked tired and defeated. Behind him, Sam could see alien crew members working frantically at damaged control stations. "I am Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Empire," the alien said. "I am prepared to discuss terms of surrender." Sam felt a mixture of triumph and sadness. The war that had seemed hopeless was finally ending. But he also remembered Dr. Ellen Stone's discovery about the dying alien race. "Admiral, this is Captain Sam Turner of the Human Defense Force. We're willing to talk, but not about surrender. We want to discuss how we can help each other." Admiral Kethvar looked confused. "Help each other? We invaded your world? We killed millions of your people." "Yes, you did," Sam replied. "But we've learned about your cybernetic plague. We know. Your people are dying. Maybe it's time to stop fighting and start looking for solutions." For the first time in months, Admiral Kethvar felt something he thought he had lost forever: hope. These humans had defeated his empire, but instead of demanding revenge, they were offering help. The invasion that had begun with 9,900 ships was ending with just 18 vessels still under alien control. But perhaps, Admiral Kethvar thought, this ending could become a new beginning for both their species. The first alien ship entered Earth's outer defense zone at exactly 1430 hours. Captain Ryan Davis watched it through the bridge windows of his destroyer, the UES Ranger. The ship was massive, bigger than anything humans had ever built. Its hull was dark metal that seemed to eat light. Strange symbols glowed along its sides like angry red eyes. "Sir, we're getting readings on their weapons," said his tactical officer, Lieutenant Danny Cooper. "Energy signatures are off the charts. One shot from that thing could cut our ship in half." Ryan nodded, but kept his eyes on the alien vessel. Behind it, hundreds more ships were spreading out across space. They moved like a pack of wolves, organized and deadly. Each ship knew exactly where to go and what to do. "Danny, remember what?" Captain Morrison said. "We don't fight them the way they expect. We hit them fast and run away. Make them chase us." On the other side of the solar system, Commander Lisa Brooks was leading a squadron of 6 human cruisers toward a group of alien ships near Jupiter. Her plan was simple but dangerous. Instead of fighting in formation, her ships would attack from 6 different directions at once. "All ships, this is Commander Brooks. Break formation now. Attack pattern chaos. I repeat, attack pattern chaos." Her ships scattered like startled birds. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Their sensors tracked the human vessels, but their computers couldn't predict where they would go next. Humans didn't follow any logical pattern. The battle began when Lisa's ship, the UES Defiance, fired its missiles at the closest alien cruiser. The missiles hit the alien shields and exploded in bright flashes of light. The alien ship barely noticed. Its shields absorbed the damage like it was nothing. But then something unexpected happened. While the alien ship was focused on Lisa's attack, Captain Tony Martinez came at it from below in his small patrol boat. His ship was tiny compared to the alien cruiser, but he had loaded it with mining explosives from the asteroid belt. Tony's ship slammed into the alien vessel's lower hull just as he detonated the explosives. The blast tore a huge hole in the alien ship. Atmosphere and debris poured out into space. The mighty alien cruiser began to spin out of control. "That's how you do it," Tony shouted over the radio before his ship was destroyed by the explosion. But his sacrifice had shown something important. The alien ships were strong, but they could be hurt. Meanwhile, Admiral Kethavar watched the battle from his command ship. He had expected the humans to form defensive lines around their planet. Instead, they were attacking from everywhere at once. Some human ships were ramming his vessels. Others were using strange weapons he had never seen before. "Commander Zethok, why are the humans fighting this way?" Admiral Kethavar asked his second-in-command. "Unknown, Admiral. Their tactics make no sense. They sacrifice ships for minimal damage. They attack our strongest vessels instead of fleeing. Their behavior is irrational." Admiral Kethavar frowned. In 47 previous conquests, enemy species had always fought logically. They tried to protect their important ships and retreat when facing superior firepower. But humans seemed to think differently. Back on Earth, Dr. Kevin Price was studying wreckage from an alien fighter that had been shot down over the Pacific Ocean. The debris had been pulled from the ocean and brought to his laboratory. What he found inside surprised him. "Megan, come look at this," he called to Chief Engineer Megan Taylor. Megan walked over to the examination table where Kevin had opened up part of the alien fighter's control system. Inside, instead of normal electronics, there were strange, biological components mixed with machinery. "These aren't just machines," Kevin said. "They're part organic, part artificial. The aliens have somehow combined living tissue with computer systems." Megan studied the strange components. "That would explain why their ships move so perfectly together. They're all connected somehow, like parts of one big brain." Their discovery was interrupted when Captain Ryan Davis contacted Earth Command. His voice came through the radio, weak and full of static. "Earth Command, this is Captain Davis. My ship is badly damaged, but I've got something important. We managed to capture an alien frigate. It's disabled but mostly intact." Admiral Burke's voice came through the speaker. "Captain, how did you manage to capture an alien ship?" "We rammed it, ma'am. My engines are gone and most of my crew is dead, but the alien ship is dead in space. Its crew appears to be unconscious. I think the impact damaged their connection to their main fleet." This was the break humanity needed. Within hours, a team of scientists and engineers had boarded the captured alien ship. Dr. Kevin Price led the team, along with Megan Taylor and several other experts. The inside of the alien ship was strange and frightening. The walls seemed to pulse like they were alive. Strange lights moved through tubes that looked like blood vessels. Everything was connected to everything else. "It's like being inside a giant organism," Megan whispered as they explored the ship's corridors. They found the alien crew in a large chamber at the center of the ship. There were 50 aliens, all unconscious and connected to the ship by cables that ran into their skulls. The aliens looked like tall, thin humans, but their skin was gray and their eyes were larger. Most disturbing were the mechanical parts that had been grafted onto their bodies. "They've turned themselves into living computers," Kevin said. "No wonder their ships work so well together. The crews are all connected to each other and to their ships." Megan began studying the ship's control systems, while Kevin examined the aliens. What she found was both amazing and terrifying. The alien ship wasn't controlled by separate computers. Instead, The entire vessel was one giant thinking machine, with the crew's brains as its processors. "Kevin, this is incredible," Megan said. "Their entire fleet probably works the same way. All 9,000 ships connected together, sharing information instantly. No wonder they're so coordinated." But Kevin had made an even more important discovery. "Megan, look at this. The aliens aren't just connected to their ships, they're dying." He showed her readings from his medical scanner. The aliens' organic parts were failing. The mechanical implants were slowly killing them. Their cybernetic enhancements are breaking down their biology. That's why they're expanding so fast. They're looking for something to save their species before they all die. Meanwhile, the battle in space continued. Human ships kept attacking in unpredictable ways. Some used suicide tactics, others employed hit-and-run strategies. A few even tried to board alien vessels. Colonel Nina Scott led a squadron of fighters in an attack on 3 alien cruisers near Mars. Her ships were tiny compared to the alien vessels, but she had noticed something. When human ships got very close to alien ships, the aliens' weapons couldn't target them properly. "All fighters, get in close, right against their hulls. Their big guns can't hit us there." Her fighters swarmed around the alien ships like angry insects. They couldn't do much damage, but they confused the alien targeting systems. While the aliens were distracted, larger human ships moved in for killing blows. On Luna Base, Major Kate Anderson was preparing for a ground assault. Alien ships had landed on the moon and were setting up a base. Kate had gathered every soldier, miner, and colonist who could carry a weapon. "Listen up," she told her makeshift army. "These aliens think they can just walk in and take our home. They're wrong. We're going to show them that humans don't give up our territory without a fight." The 18-hour battle was the bloodiest in human history. By the time it ended, most of Earth's fleet was destroyed. Orbital stations were burning wrecks. Millions of people were dead. But something unexpected had happened. The aliens had lost. Ships, too. Not many compared to their huge fleet, but more than they had expected. Admiral Kethvar stared at his damage reports in disbelief. These primitive humans had actually hurt his mighty armada. More importantly, the humans had learned something. The captured alien ship was providing valuable information about alien technology and weaknesses. Dr. Kevin Price and Megan Taylor were already working on ways to use this knowledge. The invasion was far from over, but humanity had survived the first day. They had paid a terrible price, but they were still fighting, and now they knew something about their enemy. The real war was just beginning. Captain Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started screaming. The hot liquid spilled across his uniform as he jumped up from his desk. Outside his window on Outpost 7, space looked the same as always. Stars dotted, the black void like tiny diamonds. But something was wrong. The alarms never screamed like this unless something very bad was happening. Jake ran to the control room where Lieutenant Amy Carter was staring at her screen with wide eyes. Her face had gone completely white. Sergeant Pete Williams stood behind her, his mouth hanging open. "What is it?" Jake asked, but he could already see the answer on the main display. The screen showed thousands of red dots moving toward Earth. Each dot was a ship, a very big ship. "Captain, we have incoming vessels," Amy said in a shaky voice. "Long-range sensors show 9,900 ships approaching from the outer system. They're huge, sir. Each one is the size of a city." Jake felt his heart stop for a moment. 9,900 ships. That was impossible. Humans had maybe 300 ships in the entire solar system. Most of them were small patrol boats or cargo vessels. Only about 50 were real warships. "Are you sure about those numbers?" Jake asked. "I've checked 3 times, sir," Amy replied. "The computer confirms it. 9,900 alien vessels, all moving toward Earth at high speed." Pete Williams stepped forward. His job was to keep the outposts safe, but his hands were shaking. "Captain, our weapons won't even scratch ships that big. We've got 6 missile tubes and some laser cannons. They probably have shields that could stop our entire arsenal." Jake looked at the screen again. The red dots were getting closer. In 6 hours, they would reach Earth's outer defenses. In 12 hours, they would reach Earth itself. Humanity had never faced anything like this before. "Amy, get me a connection to Earth Command." "Emergency channel," Jake ordered. The screen flickered and showed Admiral Helen Burke sitting at her desk on Earth. She looked tired, like she had been awake all night. Behind her, Jake could see other officers running around in panic. "Captain Morrison," Admiral Burke said, "I assume you're seeing what we're seeing." "Yes, ma'am." 9,900 ships. What are our orders?" Admiral Burke was quiet for a moment. Jake could hear people shouting in the background. Someone was yelling about evacuation plans. Another voice was talking about surrender. Terms. "Captain, we don't have enough ships to fight them. We don't have enough weapons. We don't even know who they are or what they want," Admiral Burke said. "But we're going to fight anyway. Every ship, every station, every person who can—" "Hold a weapon," Jake nodded. He had expected this answer. Humans had never been good at giving up. Even when things looked hopeless, they kept fighting. "What about civilians?" Jake asked. "We're moving them to underground shelters and deep space stations. But, Captain, most of them won't make it if we lose. These aliens have enough firepower to crack planets." The connection ended and Jake turned back to his crew. Amy was already working on the outpost's defense systems. Pete was checking their weapons and ammunition. Both of them looked scared, but they were doing their jobs. "Sir," Amy said, "I'm picking up transmissions from the alien fleet. It's in a language I've never heard before, but the computer is trying to translate." "Put it on speakers," Jake ordered. A strange voice filled the control room. It sounded like metal scraping against stone. The computer's translation came through a few seconds later. "Primitive species of the 3rd planet. You will surrender immediately. Resistance will result in total destruction. We are the Zephyrian Empire. We have conquered 47 star systems. Your species will serve us or die." Jake felt anger rising in his chest. These aliens thought humans would just give up without a fight. They thought Earth would roll over and play dead like a scared dog. "Amy, send a message back," Jake said. "Sir, what should I tell them?" Jake smiled for the first time since the alarm started. "Tell them this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Human Defense Force. Tell them we got their message. And tell them they can go to hell." Amy's fingers moved over her keyboard. A few minutes later, she looked up. "Message sent, sir." The response came back almost immediately. The alien voice sounded angry now. "Your species has chosen destruction. Our forces will show no mercy. Prepare to be eliminated." Pete Williams laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Well, Captain, I guess we're going to war." Jake looked out the window again. In the distance, he could see the first alien ships appearing, as tiny dots of light. They were still far away, but they were getting bigger. Soon the battle would begin. "Pete, arm all weapons. Amy, send word to every human ship in the system. Tell them to spread out and hit the aliens from every direction. Don't try to fight them head-on." "Sir," Amy said, "that's not standard military doctrine. Command wants us to form defensive lines around Earth. Command is thinking like generals from the old days, Jake replied. We can't fight these aliens like we fought wars on Earth. We have to be smart. We have to be tricky. We have to make them think we're crazy. Outside, more alien ships were becoming visible. They moved in perfect formation, like pieces on a chessboard. Each ship was exactly where it was supposed to be. They looked organized and powerful and terrifying. But Jake had an idea. These aliens had conquered 47 star systems, using the same tactics every time. They expected their enemies to fight in formations, too. They expected organized resistance that they could crush with superior firepower. What if humans didn't fight the way the aliens expected? What if they scattered like leaves in the wind? What if they attacked from everywhere at once like angry bees? Amy, get me a channel to all human ships, Jake said. When the channel opened, Jake could see dozens of ship captains on his screen. Some looked scared, others looked angry. All of them were waiting for orders. This is Captain Morrison, Jake said. In a few hours, we're going to face the biggest military force in human history. They have better ships and better weapons. They think we're going to lose. Jake paused and looked at each face on the screen. They're probably right. But before we die, we're going to show them something they've never seen before. We're going to show them what happens when you mess with the human race. The alien fleet was getting closer. Soon, the real war would begin. Admiral Voresh paced the bridge of his flagship, watching the edge of the Omega sector with growing anxiety. The human ship had been inside the Forbidden Zone for 6 hours, and his sensors showed massive energy spikes coming from deep within the sector. Sir, reported his science officer, we're detecting power signatures that exceed anything in our databases. Whatever the humans are doing in there, it's activating technology that's been dormant for millennia. That's impossible, Voresh said. No one has ever survived more than a few minutes in the Omega sector. The ancient weapons there are designed to destroy anything that enters. Perhaps, sir, but the energy readings suggest otherwise. Suddenly, every alarm on the alien fleet began sounding at once. A massive energy signature was approaching the edge of the forbidden sector, moving at speeds that their instruments couldn't properly measure. Sir, something is coming out of the Omega sector, the tactical officer reported. It's huge. The USS Defiance emerged from the Forbidden Zone, but it was no longer the same ship that had entered. The vessel now glowed with ancient alien energy, and streams of power flowed around its hull like liquid lightning. The ship itself appeared larger somehow, as if space was bending around it. Open communications, Voresh ordered. Captain Jake Morrison appeared on the screen, looking remarkably calm for someone who had just survived the most dangerous region in the galaxy. Behind him, his bridge crew was operating control panels that definitely hadn't been there before. Admiral Voresh, Jake said with a friendly smile. Sorry to keep you waiting. We ran into some technical difficulties. Voresh stared at the human captain. Captain Morrison, what have you done? Our sensors show that you've activated the ancient defense network. Well, Jake replied, my engineer found some really interesting equipment in there. Turns out the previous owners just needed someone to flip the right switches. Behind Jake, Danny Walsh could be seen installing what appeared to be a cup holder next to a control panel that was obviously not human in origin. The sight of human comfort items next to cosmic superweapons was somehow more terrifying than any threat Voresh had ever faced. Captain Morrison, Voresh said, his voice shaking slightly, you have awakened technology that has been sleeping for 50,000 years. Those weapons were sealed away because they were too dangerous for any civilization to control. Dr. Patricia Hill stepped forward on the screen. Admiral, we've discovered that your understanding of these weapons was incomplete. They're not dangerous when operated correctly. They're just very powerful tools that require creative thinking to use safely. Creative thinking, Voresh repeated. Those weapons can destroy entire star systems. Only if you use them wrong, Danny called out from his position. But if you approach them like any other engineering problem, they're actually quite manageable. Voresh watched in horror as the human engineer treated weapons of mass destruction like household appliances. Captain Morrison, you must understand. Your species has just gained access to technology that could threaten every civilization in the galaxy. Jake looked thoughtful. Admiral, I think you're looking at this all wrong. Yes, we have powerful weapons now, but we also have powerful tools. These ancient machines can do more than just destroy things. They can build things too. Sir, reported the alien tactical officer, the human ship is being joined by others. Voresh looked at his screen in disbelief. Ancient weapons platforms were emerging from the Omega sector, moving in formation with the human ship. Each platform was the size of a small moon and bristled with weapons that could crack planets. How many platforms are active? Voresh asked. 217, sir, and more are coming online every minute. Ben Carter spoke up from the Defiance's bridge. Admiral, we've figured out how to network all the ancient systems together. The whole sector is now operating as one giant defense grid, Alex Turner added. And the best part is, we've improved the original design. The ancient aliens were thinking too small. Voresh felt his worldview crumbling. These humans had not only survived the forbidden sector, they had improved it. They had taken the most dangerous technology in the galaxy and made it better using nothing but human ingenuity and complete disregard for the word impossible. Captain Morrison, Voresh said desperately, you must see that this level of power requires responsibility. There are protocols that must be followed, laws that govern the use of such weapons. Jake smiled. Admiral, we've been thinking about that, and we've come to a decision. Voresh braced himself for whatever impossible demand the humans were about to make. We surrender, Jake said. What? Voresh blinked in confusion. We surrender to you, Admiral. Completely and unconditionally. The alien fleet exchanged confused glances. The humans now controlled the most powerful weapons network in the galaxy, and they were surrendering. However, Jake continued, we'd like to make you an offer. What kind of offer? Voresh asked cautiously. We'd like to share our modifications with your fleet. Your ships are impressive, but we think we can make them better. Lisa Brooks explained, Admiral, we've learned that the galaxy's laws about technology exist because everyone has been thinking about science the wrong way. You've been so focused on what can't be done that you've forgotten to ask what can be done. Dr. Hill added, the ancient weapons weren't sealed away because they were dangerous. They were sealed away because the civilizations that found them were afraid to experiment with them. Danny held up a strange device that glowed with inner light. Admiral, this little gadget here can improve your ship's engines by 300%. All it takes is some creative rewiring and a willingness to try new things. Voresh stared at the humans in amazement. They had become the most powerful force in the galaxy, and their first impulse was to help others become more powerful too. Sir, one of his officers whispered, they're offering to upgrade our entire fleet. Captain Morrison, Voresh said slowly, you control weapons that could destroy every ship in my fleet. Why are you offering to help us instead of conquering us? Jake looked surprised by the question. Admiral, why would we want to conquer you? We're explorers, not conquerors. We'd rather make friends than enemies. Samantha Price spoke up from her station. "Admiral, we've been monitoring galactic communications, and it sounds like there are a lot of problems out there that could be solved with better technology." Alex Turner grinned. "Plus, we've got all these cool new toys, and it's more fun to share them than to keep them to ourselves." Voresh realized that he was witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history. A species had gained ultimate power and chosen to use it to help others rather than dominate them. "Admiral," Jake said, "the way we see it, the galaxy has been held back by too many rules about what's impossible. Maybe it's time to start focusing on what's possible instead." "Sir," Voresh's science officer reported, "they're transmitting technical specifications for their modifications. The improvements they're suggesting would advance our technology by thousands of years." Voresh made a decision that would change the course of galactic civilization. "Captain Morrison, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I accept your offer of alliance." Jake smiled widely. "Excellent, Admiral. Danny, start sending over the upgrade packages. Let's show our new friends what humans can really do when we put our minds to it." As the human modifications spread throughout the galaxy, a new age of exploration and discovery began. The rigid laws that had limited technological progress for millions of years crumbled before human creativity, and the simple idea that impossible was just another word for untried. The USS Defiance had become more than a warship that defied every law. It had become the catalyst for a galactic renaissance of human ingenuity.